I posted a question. Can I post text messages, Illinois? So people, when you do anything like that, make sure be careful what you're posting. Okay, says Illinois, there is no specific statutes that prohibit you from posting text message or screenshots of private conversations, provided the content does not violate other laws. However, some illegal boundaries in recent 2003-2004 legislative updates define when sharing these messages could become illegal. Okay, doxing as of 2023 Illinois law HB 2954 makes it illegal to publish another person's private identifying information, what can include phone numbers and private details in text, with the intent to harm or stalk them. Harassment or cyber stalking, posting messages with specific intent to harass, threaten, or alarm another person is prohibited under the Harassing or Obscene Communications Act. Non-consensual dissemination, sharing intimate or sexually explicit images without the subject's consent is illegal under revenge porn law. Defamation, you may be liable in civil court if the posted messages are used to make false claims that damages a person's reputation. Significant updates, several new rules regarding text message and digital presence went into effect in 2023. Digital services of process effective April 24th, 2023. Illinois Supreme Court Rule 102 was amended to allow legal summons and complaints to be served via text message, email, social media if traditional methods are unsuccessful. Child influencer privacy, signed in 2023, effective 2024. SB 1782 protects the rights of children featured in monetized social media content, ensuring they receive compensation for posts they appear in. Personal information protection, introduced in 2023, provides additional protections for social media users, allowing them to take legal action if their accounts are hacked and personal messages are exposed. Using court, if you are posting text messages for legal purpose, note that the Illinois courts consistently admit authenticated text messages as evidence in civil, criminal, and family law cases. To be admissible, the messages must be authenticated, proven to be from the claim sender, and relevant to the case. Okay, so all I'm going to do is do little video of the text messages with me and the people that were running this building. They're trying to conduct an illegal eviction, and they're constantly harassing me and in text messages. I finally got, this is the first landlord. The building has switched hands multiple times, and this is the first one that I actually got to speak with their counsel. And their counsel's is trying to talk me into just leaving, and they won't charge me extra money or whatever, which is ridiculous. But either way, we're going to do battle in court, and I want to use the text messages from the previous building managers where they just kept blowing off my complaints about replacing the toilet, the sink, fixing this black mold issue, the multiple water leaks, a couple in the kitchen, a few in the bathroom, one in the front room. I'm painting over the water spots isn't going to fix anything. They got to replace the front door. It's warped. The frame is warped. They keep telling me there's things I could do to keep the air out, and no, just replace the damn front door. I only have one door. But they don't want to fix anything. The last building manager told me she was here. They were here to make money, not spend money. So they sold the building to the people that now own it, and now they're trying to tell me it's not their problem. They weren't here. The people before were supposed to fix it, and they didn't. And But no, if you look it up, landlord fixes everything on the internet. It'll show that they're supposed to fix all these problems. And if the building's sold, the landlord's supposed to make arrangements with the person that's buying the building to make these repairs. And there's this thing called disclosure, where they're supposed to disclose to each other all these problems. So the landlords and their lawyers should know everything that's going on. So they can't deny anything. And then the lawyer, he's supposed to tell the landlord, hey, you got to fix all these things, You can't just evict these people because you don't want to fix nothing, because it's going to cost you money. You can't just raise the rent without fixing any of this stuff. This could be a class action lawsuit. The lawyer is legally required to inform his client that he's breaking the law, but he's not doing that because they're still taking me to court. And I have a jury trial for eviction court in June. I know I'm not going to lose because there's a pre-trial date on the 8th and then trials on the 9th, and they're going to try to establish probable cause, which is going to be shut down. I'll shut that down super quick, fast, in a hurry. And he's not going to want to, it's not going to go to jury trial. He's going to have to make a settlement somehow, some way. But this isn't just about me. It's about, I have a video of the guy that delivered the eviction notice, and he was telling me this is being done to a whole lot of other people, and if the owners would just fix the building, they wouldn't have all these people complaining about having these things fixed. All right, so I decided there's nothing about, that they say here, so I'm going to go ahead and record the text messages and post them so you could see the ridiculousness that I've been going through with these landlords, and how they multiple times they threaten to evict me if I do not sign the lease and pay the rent increase. I said, well, after you make all these mandatory repairs. And as I said, the building's exchanged hand multiple times and nobody's doing anything. And for the most part, I cannot leave here in good conscience knowing that they're just going to pass these health hazards on to somebody else. With the multiple water leaks, water coming down through the light fixture falling into another light fixture, electrical fires, that scares me. The black mold coming up through the drains. The drains are slowly backing up. And there's a lot of problems here. But either way, I tried to discuss this with the landlords through text messaging and emails, and that's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to do videos recording these text messages with landlords, and you can see what I'm dealing with. And that way, when I do go to court, I can just tell them, look on my Facebook page. It's public. The evidence is there. Okay, people, but I just wanted to let you know what I was up to. You know how I like to talk about the law, so I wanted to make sure about the specifics about posting the text messages between me and landlords. There's no personal information. There's just me complaining about what needs to be fixed, sending them pictures, videos, everything being ignored. And this is the first time I've actually got one of them to have their lawyers come at me. And that's what I've been trying to get them to do. Take me to court. Now they're going to have to explain to a jury why they broke the law. Landlord knows. I told him, look it up on the net. It says landlord fixes everything. You got to fix all this stuff. And then I told his lawyer, this is not but legal harassment. And his lawyer started laughing and wouldn't let me speak. And so I'm going to use the rules of professional conduct against him, because it's against the law to file this frivolous litigation. It says so in the rules of professional conduct. That's violating the oath. Violating the oath is deprivation of rights under the color of law. It doesn't have to be just the lawyer working for me. It could be a lawyer working against me. And that's what I'm going to do. Use the rules of professional conduct as a pro se litigant, because this guy seems to think he can take advantage of my ignorance of the law. I may not be a lawyer, but I know quite a few laws, and I know his job description quite well. It's in the rules of professional conduct. And I'm going to require the judge to cite this lawyer for violating the rules. Reporting misconduct is mandatory in the rules of professional conduct and the code of judicial conduct, and it's mandatory for all lawyers and judges to report any misconduct between any lawyer or judge. Any knowledge whatsoever. They don't even have to be participants in the case. They just have to have general knowledge of misconduct, and it's mandatory to report that misconduct. Failure to report misconduct is misconduct, and that failure to report misconduct knowingly and willfully, fail to report misconduct creates a conspiracy against rights under the color of law. Anytime any lawyer fails to abide by the rule of professional conduct, that's deprivation of rights. Any judge fails to abide by the code of judicial conduct, that's deprivation of rights. Either or, not abiding by the rules or the codes is a conspiracy against rights under the color of law. No lawyer and no judge can get away with violating the rules or the codes without the other lawyers or judges participating in the act. It's impossible. It's impossible to violate one rule without violating multiple rules. It's impossible to violate the rules of professional conduct without violating the code of judicial conduct, because it's mandatory to report misconduct. So it's impossible to violate the code of judicial conduct without violating the rules of professional conduct, because it's mandatory to report judicial misconduct. And nobody reporting is thus a conspiracy against rights under the color of law. Thank you for listening. I just wanted to give you a little update on what I'm doing, because no matter what court of law you go into, nobody plays by the rules of the codes, which makes it an easy win for you if you read them and use them. Look up deprivation of rights. Look up a conspiracy against rights under the color of law. Hold them to the letter of the law on that. Look up the letter of the law. Look up penalties for violating the letter of the law. Remember, they took the oath to do all that. Violating the oath is deprivation of rights. Nobody being cited for violating that oath is a conspiracy against rights under the color of law, because it's mandatory to report any deprivation of rights. All right, people, I'm trying to make this short. I have PTSD, pain issues, cause a lot of flashbacks, and not a pleasant place to go to. But it woke me up and it won't let me sleep. All right, nothing but peace and love, all right? May your Creator always be with you and rain many blessings. I wish you nothing but a long life and good health. Good night.